have your contact. You can talk to him. He wants 47.5. Oh my god.
Get new tape.
I'm living with it. But yeah, let's get into it. Hello everyone. This is Valley episode 1. This is our chance to talk to some creatives, get an insight on who they are, and just have a conversation. This is Max Mezo, but I'll let you introduce yourself and we can get started.
Episode 1.
Yeah.
The first.
Number
Jesus.
1, kicking it off.
Number 1,
bro.
yeah. Set the tone high. My name is Max Mezo. Grew up in Toronto, and I'm a director of photography or a cinematographer. I'm a content creator. I'm a DJ, soon-to-be entrepreneur.
Yeah.
I'm just checking off all the boxes that I can.
Absolutely. And that's really the story of Mezo, and we'll talk about it a lot today. But I want to just shout out Rewack, Michael Frank. You guys don't know about him, but that is the reason we met.
Time ago.
Yeah, time ago.
Long.
2 years now, almost. Yeah, it's
crazy.
Good to see you cooking, bro. It's good to see you cooking. Yeah, for some context, me and Mezo met at the penthouse of the Shangri-La at a random party, and immediately just connected on creative. And over time, you start to meet other people, but we just connected. And he's always been doing great things, and we've always been doing great things. So for real, I'm grateful you took the chance and came out here.
Oh, man. Thank you
on
for
some
having
real
me.
shit, he helped me set up this camera. So shout out for real. Shout out for real.
Well, thank you, man.
But yeah, let's start with,
appreciate
what was the first thing? I know you mentioned the cinematography, and I think that was your first step. But go to square one, and where did it start for you?
Just the world of being a creative.
Yeah.
Where did it start?
Yeah.
It definitely started when I was young, just making YouTube videos.
Yeah.
And just it's kind of like the same cliche that every person in the media industry has, is they made YouTube videos. They wanted to be a YouTuber.
Yeah.
They filmed skateboarding videos.
Dope.
I did parkour, so I did some parkour videos.
Cool.
So just little skits.
Yeah.
Just getting my hands on a camera and just not worrying about what it looked like, but just filming.
Amazing.
And just learning. And I think I came up at such a great time, or we came up with YouTube.
Yeah.
And just I fell in love with learning things on YouTube.
Absolutely, bro. Yeah.
So that's kind of what started. And I would learn filmmaking, and then now it's transcended to every aspect of my life. I'm learning on YouTube.
Absolutely.
But yeah, just started off creating videos and just experimenting with the camera.
Really cool. And then so with the learning, want to tell us about some of your school experience? How was that like? Did you go to school for film? How'd that go?
Yeah, I went to university. I went to film school at Ryerson, which is now TMU.
Cool.
Finished it.
Yeah, dope.
Finished the 4 years. I got that 40 grand piece of paper.
Yes.
That's hung up on my dad's wall.
Hey.
I think it was a great experience.
Yeah.
But I really put my head down and got as much out of it as I could.
Yeah.
Whereas I find that some people who went through the program and didn't, and just kind of got by with the school projects, aren't really as into the industry as me and a couple of my peers are, just because they just kind of did what was necessary.
No, absolutely. So it was the learning and then the outside execution that really made it.
Yeah.
So then would you rate, obviously YouTube has been the paradigm for learning now and in the past, but if you compare film school YouTube, we have some filmmakers watching, is it do both? Is it a try one or the other? Is it avoid one and just go YouTube? What do you think?
I think it's situational based. YouTube, you can learn.
Yeah.
But with school, for me, it wasn't about the learning. What made the program worth it for me was the connections that I made.
Absolutely.
And just the opportunities that being in a classroom of 30 people, like-minded people, and you have access to your network.
Totally.
The person next to you has the same amount of network and a different network, and then just being in a room of 30 people, 30 like-minded people, the network is
just
insane.
expands,
So for me, none of my parents were in film. I had no family in the media industry.
Sure.
So I had no connections.
Okay.
So it made sense for me to go to film school because I didn't know anyone, and I had to start making connections and just building off people I'd meet.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I rate it for sure.
Yeah,
I
definitely.
say go.
Cool. So with the film school, and you headed into cinematography. Now, I gotta ask on a personal level, what was your favorite project? Whether it's a cinematography or directorial level. I know you've done some crazy bits. Go check out his stuff for that. But what was your favorite? And tell me why.
That's a hard question. You're gonna make me pick a prize. It's like picking my baby, my favorite child.
Yeah, putting on the spot.
I would say my favorite project is a short film I shot back in 2021
Cool.
called Wilfred.
Okay.
It was really like the first short film I ever shot that was like a piece of cinema.
Yeah.
Something that wasn't like videography. It was
Totally.
kind of full scale, full crew.
Dope.
And being my first project, as well as the director, that was his first project.
Yeah.
We were, one of my best friends, Sam, very like-minded people,
Yeah.
and just kind of just jumped into the deep end and just kind of figured out as we went. And we shot the short film. It's like a 10-minute short film. Shot it in 4 days.
Yeah.
He funded it himself.
Cool.
Put the whole crew up in a hotel in Stratford, Ontario.
Awesome.
It was very much like balls to the wall.
Yeah.
If we're gonna do it, we're gonna do it good.
Absolutely.
And I think that just worked because we had the same mindset going into it.
Yeah.
And it ended up being a success, you could call it.
Cool.
It premiered in Los Angeles Shorts, which was
Amazing.
like one of 100 Oscar qualifying festivals.
Oh, really cool.
So
bro.
that was a cool accomplishment.
Yeah.
It played in Santa Fe Film Festival. It played in a film festival for filmmakers under 25 out in
Amazing.
Seattle that me and him flew, and our producer flew out to. So
Cool.
that was a cool. It was really like not even those 4 days of that film were fun. It was
Yeah.
the whole process and everything that
course.
came along with making that. So
Yeah,
I
of
think,
course.
and it holds such a special place in my heart, being my first ever like
Yeah,
real
yeah.
short film.
Totally.
So yeah, that's my long explanation of why Wilfred
course.
is my favorite.
That's
film.
awesome though. I wanted to drill down on the balls to the wall kind of going into it. You know, I feel like a lot of people they have that balance between, do I plan, you know, do I go through it, do I put together a shot list, spend a couple months like really planning it out and hop in, or do I just grab a camera and some friends and go? What's your thoughts on that balance? Like, do you go one way or the other, or do you find that balance for yourself?
I'm definitely a person who likes to methodically plan, and being on so many sets and seeing so many sets go askew.
Yeah.
Most of the time a set goes askew is because there wasn't enough pre-planning. So I'm always pushing plan everythve. So when you get onto set,
Sure.
it's just execution. You just go. You
Dope.
don't no thinking.
Yeah,
The goal is
yeah.
to not think on set. You've thought about everything already.
Yeah.
You just execute.
Dope.
So that's my philosophy.
Sure.
Some people are different. Some people just like to think on the spot,
Yeah.
be creative.
But you like the
Yeah, I
methodical.
like to methodically think, and then not contrary to that, but the other side of that is if you do that,
Yeah.
you already know what you're gonna get
Yeah.
on set.
True.
So then you have the time and space to be creative because you've already planned everything.
Yeah.
Now you can be like sticking to the schedule and we have some time. Okay, let's do this
Absolutely.
because we're on time, because we're on schedule, because we planned everything.
So you get that solid environment, and then honestly, just having that environment can even spark that creativity
Yeah.
for moments to come up.
Yeah.
Yeah, super cool. I think that's where the real balance is. It's like finding out the schedule and the routine, and then within it, still being able to be creative and think about new things. That's what really makes that piece. No, I love that. So, you know, we talked about multiple media forms. I know you talked about short film. We talked about YouTube. I want to talk about TikTok a little bit. We'll get into it a little more. But my whole thing is, how do you feel on multimedia? Is it like something you always wanted to get into, or it was just like, you know, wherever I can put stuff out, it's like a new challenge, a new art form, or was it just like I need numbers or go out there?
I've been on social media a long time. I've been a love of the internet and technology and the advancement of technology.
Absolutely.
Ever since I was young, so I gravitated to social media and YouTube from a young age.
Yeah.
And I started like learning about influencers and learning about that type of culture.
Yeah.
And I started to try it out back in like grade 10. Is
Dope.
when I like officially like started to do it on a
Yeah.
website called YouNow.
Oh wow! I don't even know what.
And
you
like
know.
most people don't. Most people don't.
That's crazy.
But if you know the names of like Jojo Siwa,
Yeah.
Jacob Sartorius, Bryce Hall,
Yeah.
they all started on YouNow,
Wow.
which is interesting.
Crazy.
Yeah.
And so you now what kind of platform?
So
was it?
YouNow was basically like a live, like Twitch,
Yeah.
but live streaming,
Yeah.
just chatting.
Oh, so you're just constantly talking to people.
So you're just webcam, just chatting with the chat.
Wow, that's cool.
And it was a very much like a quasi TikTok live.
Yeah.
And like very much like influency, like all the guys would watch this one girl,
True,
or all the
true.
girls would watch this one guy.
Okay.
And it was
okay.
kind of like, it was like the precursor of Musical.ly.
That makes sense. That
Like the
makes
same
sense.
type of fan base.
Yeah.
kinda like
Did
a
you hop on
younger
Musical.ly, by
demographic?
the way? Were you?
So my short story
Yeah.
is started on YouNow in grade 10,
Yeah.
got hacked after like gaining a substantial following.
Sure.
Company didn't help me. YouNow, the company, I
Oh.
was talking with them, whatever.
Yeah.
And a lot of the friends I was making, other influencers on YouNow,
Yeah.
were jumping ship to go to this new app called Musical.ly.
Okay.
So I was like, fuck it, let's jump ship.
Yeah.
And then just following my buddies
Dope.
and yeah, I moved over to Musical.ly.
Hey, we're gonna find the archive videos of those Musical.lys. I
Oh,
wanna
they're all
see them.
gone. There's honestly, no, I'm not even gonna say. Nah, all on my profile are gone. They
Yeah,
they might be somewhere on the internet. But
Yeah.
I mean, back to where you started with Michael Frank. I met Michael Frank on Musical.ly.
No way.
And YouNow. He was on YouNow with me
Crazy.
as well.
Wow.
So that's how I know him.
Yeah. So for you, it's been a lot of community, eh? Like just tapping into different communities, whether it's school, whether it's YouNow, whether it's Musical.ly, and then just seeing where it goes from there. But just
Yeah.
because you know people in the space, you can get ahead of where it's going versus reacting to the crowd.
Yeah.
Dope.
Yeah. Finding the network, building your network.
Absolutely.
I think it was just my love to learn and love for analytics
Yeah.
and strategy.
Absolutely.
Is really, because like in every aspect there's like such a strategic plan.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
same thing
yeah.
with film. So
Absolutely,
it's,
yeah.
I kind of like work everything of my life into every part of it.
Yeah, and we're the same. I know we spent quite a bit of time, just strategizing our own stuff, and we'll
Yeah.
talk about that later, a little low key.
Yeah.
But I honestly love strategy conversation. I talk hours just about, even if it's not an industry I'm in, it's just entertaining to discuss like different methods, taking metrics, what to look at, and what to do. It just seems to not only inspire my creativity, but just like get my dopamine pumping. It's a good time. With that, I recommend get a couple friends together and have a strategy convo. It's a lot of fun. But I wanted to talk TikTok because we've gone YouNow and then we went to Musical.ly.
Yeah.
Was it Musical.ly to TikTok, or were you going? I know there's Instagram always in that,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
like, was it Musical.ly to TikTok?
I never viewed Instagram as like an influencer. I don't know. It was
Ah.
never. I didn't really love to like post that much on Instagram. It was
True.
more just like a friends thing.
Okay.
Which now has grown with a following, but
Yeah,
I
yeah.
never really viewed Instagram as something that I want to like push. And
Yeah.
I don't know. I never like fell in love with the type of content.
That's fair. I think Instagram has its own kind of way of doing influencing,
Yeah.
and you really got to be for it.
Yeah.
Very picture focused. Very.
Yeah.
I think influencers who sell e-com product, like a lot of different strategies work on Instagram that don't work anywhere else, but a lot of stuff works everywhere else that does not work on Instagram.
And before I really started like doing content
Yeah.
and being an influencer,
Totally.
I needed my Instagram for work, for my cinematography.
Okay.
So before I even started doing content, I had built up a following of just my network in the film industry,
Yeah.
and usually an older crowd.
Okay.
So of professionals.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it was it's hard still to this day, hard for me to find kind of where I fit, because half of my Instagram followers are people who know me for film and like business professionals.
True.
Whereas the other half is crossover from TikTok fans from
Yeah.
there.
So with that, actually, interesting question. Like, how much time do you spend understanding? Instagram's got analytics, a bunch of places have analytics,
Yeah.
but how much time do you spend understanding your audience on each platform? Like, do you spend a lot of time really understanding who they are and what they do, or is it more like en masse, you're just seeing where the trends go?
I would say it's just I learn as I use the platform.
Yeah.
But I guess you could say for Musical.ly, before I even started posting, I had a strategy.
Okay.
And I being in the social media space for, I don't know, since grade 10. So like,
Yeah.
what is that? Like 12 years.
Now. Wow. Yeah.
I just kind of already had some
I see.
knowledge,
I
and
see.
I was able, having that years of experience, I could create a plan
Yeah.
before I started posting. Kind of
Totally.
like pre-production,
I hear that. And I think
pre-planning.
we like to talk a lot about cross-platform posting, reposting, XYZ. So how much do you think your audience carried over? Like if you go YouNow to Musical.ly to TikTok, do you think you saw like a carryover there? Like were people following you off plat? Maybe it's more now than earlier, but just curious.
Because this would have been back in the day.
Yeah.
It's funny, kind of digressing.
Yeah.
I've had one person on TikTok
Yeah.
now
Yeah.
be like, hey, I think I used to watch you on YouNow.
Wow.
And I was like, that's crazy.
That's a crazy one, right?
Yeah. It was 10 years ago.
Yeah, that's nuts.
Or like 8 years ago. 8 years ago. Yeah, 16.
Wow, they
Yeah.
just pop up on their For You page and suddenly, wow.
Yeah. I saw a comment. I was like, that is insane.
Cool.
So one person.
Dope. Hey, so
from all the way back from the beginning.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's nuts, man. I actually think that's honestly pretty cool about the part about being, a content creator or going out there is seeing the progression.
Yeah.
But then also, I feel like when you make the content, you're pushing forward, you kind of forget about the old stuff. You're moving forward, but then someone comes and reminds you that, like, yo, you did that like whiles ago,
And I think that's good and bad. The idea that looking back on your older content is cringy.
Yeah.
Because yes, at that point in time, like looking back, you probably liked it.
Yeah.
Now it's cringy.
Yeah.
But I'm always in the mindset that to grow as a creator and an artist, your content has to grow.
Absolutely.
Or your art has to grow.
Absolutely.
And so it's a kind of a double-edged sword where if I look back and my old content is cringy, I'm like, oh, that's cringy. But then I know that I've progressed and I've grown and I can recognize that was cringy. And if I keep on that trajectory, I know you gotta shake me if I'm posting the same content for 2 years.
Absolutely, that progression is always what matters. And I think you gotta get through the steps to get to the progression. You can only see your most recent stuff when you look back at the others.
Yeah.
But I want to talk TikTok because we're kind of there now in the progression. So how did that start? Because if y'all don't know, and you should know, this guy's popping on TikTok. It is happening for Mezo. So just wanted to know, like, how did that start? Like, what was it you were always on there, and you just started kinda? But like, what was really for you that intro?
Well, I don't know if you know, but Musically and TikTok, exact same app. Just a name change. So back in the day, in high school when I was doing Musically, I think I got like 50,000 followers.
Dope.
And then getting teased too much in school, I was like, fuck this. I'm done with this. It's not worth my time.
Absolutely.
I'm not making enough money to subsidize the teasing. I was like, fuck it, whatever.
Yeah.
So I just left it.
Totally.
And didn't do anything with like 3 years, 4 years.
Yeah.
Then I got to, I guess, just over a year ago. So it'd be like the end of 2022.
Okay. Yeah.
I had, kind of connecting back to film, I had been on a bunch of film sets where the actors or talent or artists doing research on them for the shoot find out that they've really got their start from blowing up on TikTok.
Okay.
Like I was working, the main one for me is this girl called Devin Cole.
Okay.
So I shot a commercial for her for Amazon Music.
Dope. I saw that. Yeah. Shout out Devin Cole.
Shout out Devin Cole. Yeah. And she really just got like a brand, a label. Like a
deal off TikTok.
A deal off TikTok.
Dope.
So after a couple of those, I'd be like, fuck, like so many people are just getting these great opportunities from just posting on TikTok.
Absolutely.
And I was like, fuck it. Like,
let me try.
I posted, because with my knowledge of TikTok, I know that like things go viral for a reason, and it's a strategy. If it goes viral once, it'll go viral again.
Absolutely, yeah.
So, and I just had the knowledge to recognize a trend.
Yeah.
I saw this one video in the gym, and I just started going to the gym.
True.
And I was like, I noticed, I was like, this could be a viral trend.
Yeah.
But it only had like 50,000 likes. So I was like, I could do this.
Yeah.
I saw that lying in bed.
Yeah.
Next day, I go to the gym, I recreate the video.
Yeah.
I'm like, I post it.
Yeah.
I sit it. I'm like, oh, okay, 10K views in the first night.
Dope.
That's it. Go to sleep, wake up, like 200,000 views.
Wow.
And I got lucky. It became a trend.
Dope.
So I was the second person to do the trend. And video got like, I don't know, 400,000 views. The first one I posted. Because I had all my other ones deleted.
Yeah.
All the Musicallys. But
so the theme I'm seeing here for you is, you got that community. And you're starting to pick up signs in your community. Yeah. You hop on, and then you hit a strategy, and that's just test and repeat. Yeah, it's looking cool, man.
But yeah, blew up, and then I just kept going.
Really dope.
And then I just
So was that belt guy? Was that
no,
belt flick?
No, it wasn't.
Even, eh?
No, it wasn't the belt guy.
Wow. Okay, so that's just gym TikToks.
So the first video I posted was just this kind of funny, the antics of foam rolling your hamstrings versus your quads.
Cool.
Like sexualizing that.
Yeah.
And then that was the first one I posted.
Yeah.
And then I went again looking for videos that I could copy, viral videos that I could copy.
Yeah.
And the belt one was one of them.
Dope.
So that was
so
probably
you saw the belt one first somewhere. or was that just something?
So the belt one I copied, yeah.
Dope.
Yeah,
dope,
yeah.
Dope.
Just taking like, it's not an exact copy, but just like
Yeah.
like it had like 10 million views, and I'm
No,
like,
no,
okay,
I
I
hear
can
you.
click,
Yeah.
and
No,
if
but
it's
it
gonna
makes
go
for your
viral once,
personality.
it's
It's
gonna
your
go viral again.
spin. Yeah.
Yeah.
I keep going back to the Virgil adage that like you add 3% to anything and
Yeah.
it's new.
Yeah,
And I
yeah,
live
yeah.
by that.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I absolutely hear you.
So like I took his,
yeah.
made it better content, because his
Absolutely.
were all like blurry videos. I
I
had good lighting, I knew how to frame,
Absolutely.
and just did what he's doing,
Dope.
but made it look a little prettier.
Really cool. So then, okay, so we start there. I think that's, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that belt flick thing was like the first big move from normal TikToks. You get in the 100Ks,
Yeah.
but then starting to get up in the millions and really
Yeah,
kill.
yeah.
And then after that, was there a time where you were sitting there like, man, I'm always going to be like belt guy. Like I can't do anything else. Or was it like, this is the perfect time to pivot and move somewhere else?
There was a bit of thought
Yeah.
of like, because it was really when I would go out to like bars,
Okay.
and people would be like, "Oh, you're the belt guy.
Okay.
You're the belt guy,
Yeah,
aren't you?
yeah,
I see you
yeah.
on TikTok. Are you the belt guy?"
Yeah.
And I was like, good and bad.
Yeah.
I was like, okay.
Cool.
I had a little bit of thought,
Yeah.
but I was just gravitating to. I was like getting consulting from other influencer
Okay.
friends.
Yeah.
Most of them were like, "Hey, if it's working,
Yeah.
keep posting it,
Dive
keep
into
doing it."
Yeah.
And I was always I always have the ideas when you're like starting,
Mm-hmm.
no one's gonna really care about you and remember you by your face or your name.
Totally.
You have to have like a thing.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that makes
so
sense.
my thing was like the belt guy.
Yeah.
And then I had the sweatpants jump.
Uh-huh.
And so I'm always,
Yeah, just a new
because
thing.
TikTok
pushing.
especially is hard. No one
Yeah.
ever looks at the username.
Okay.
So no one ever knows your name on TikTok.
Yeah.
And I mean, one thing that just came to mind
Yeah.
is, this is completely digressing.
Nah, you're
Completely,
good, bro.
but there's kind of a connection.
Yeah.
Whereas bars in the UK, they
Okay.
basically have this chain of bars
Okay.
called Weatherspoons.
Okay.
And
Shout out Weatherspoons.
shout out Weatherspoons. It's like the McDonald's of bars
Oh, okay. Dope.
in the UK.
Yeah.
And they all have these names like the Black Crow, the
Ah.
Red Fox,
Okay.
the like Bearded Dragon or something.
Sure.
Because back in the day,
Yeah.
when sailors would come into the port,
Yeah.
these sailors back in the day didn't know how to read.
Okay.
They couldn't read. But they wanted to go get drunk.
Okay.
So they would know the local bars because there would be like a sign of like a red fox.
Yeah.
So they'd be like,
yeah.
let's go meet at the Red Fox. No idea what the bar's name is.
Agreed. But they just see
but
the
they
sign.
can't read.
That
so
symbol
there's
is everything.
Yeah, so they just call it by what they see. And I think connecting back to TikTok, it's like, it's such a quick paced thing. If I can see something that I recognize and I see it over and over,
Absolutely.
and I can just like, without knowing letters, or I just see it, oh, belt guy.
Yeah.
I think that's like a
Dope.
great approach.
No, totally. And then so I want to talk about the two different ones, because you had the belting going, and then the sweatpants did really well. And I see you now, you do a lot more, like you have the drinks, I'm making drinks, a lot of lifestyle stuff. So was that just a natural kind of, not even following trends, but just like, I kind of want to do this? Or was it really based on what you're seeing out there?
It really was me not wanting to become a gym influencer, but
Fair.
just wanting to be
Yeah, just out here.
an
Mezo,
influencer.
Max.
I mean,
Just like,
Gary Vee says, "Don't find the niche, be the niche."
Absolutely.
So
Yeah,
it's me not trying not to pigeonhole myself into being a gym influencer,
Yeah.
but just trying to find other ways that I can provide entertainment.
Yeah.
But really, the content is about me.
True. Yeah.
And
Center on Max.
I do that
agree.
through like cooking, through interior
Yeah.
design, and mixology and cocktails, all things that I like internally love,
Yeah.
which I find is easy to push out because I
Yeah.
really like it. People
Yeah.
can see the enthusiasm.
It makes the content easy to make, easy to push, and then
Yeah.
easy to be proud of and just
Yeah.
sit with.
Yeah.
Super cool. So now I think we're at like present day pretty much.
Yeah.
We're sitting with
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
So nowadays, when we talk YouTube, when we talk your cinematography client work, and then we talk TikTok, is there a balance between the two? Like, have you completely fallen off YouTube and client work, or are you still kind of moving between?
I would say there's not really any integration. I never really got it with YouTube.
True.
So really, it was just like cinematography as a profession, freelance, and now TikTok, social media, which is really just TikTok.
Yeah.
No, I haven't found an integration.
Okay.
I've my film friends have been like, fuck, like you should use your TikTok to promote your film work, and I'm still trying to figure out how to do that.
True.
I think it might be in the way of me being like, come to set with me.
Okay.
Just like a vlog kind of type thing.
Yeah. You might become camera guy.
Yeah.
Maybe the next thing. Yeah. I hear you.
But yeah, no, and I'm not, and I don't really care to make that integration because the community is different.
Absolutely.
Like my demographic on TikTok is different than the demographic that's hiring me to be a cinematographer. Totally
agreed. So yeah, I'll move into the next, and we're gonna talk about some TBD. This is hot news, live on Valley Pod. But you're working on something new, and I'll let you introduce, and we can talk about it because we've had conversations, but no one else has really heard.
Great consulting from you.
we try. That
seems to be a theme, is consulting.
Yeah.
So I guess to go off the TikTok and trying to find a use for it.
Sure.
And seeing what possibilities I can do outside of just posting videos on TikTok and posting videos on social media.
Agreed.
I've always had an interest in being an entrepreneur and like creating things, which is creating businesses for my film work, creating social medias.
Agreed.
I've always loved creating something. Being the creator and starting or something. So was thinking what can I do with this TikTok following? What can I do? And how can I like create something lasting?
That makes sense.
And something tangible.
Yeah, beyond the content.
Yeah. And I was thinking about things I could do, and I could be like a personal trainer, but that goes back to me not wanting to be in the gym niche and being a gym influencer.
Sure.
And I had some buddies who have started clothing. And I go, fashion is one of my influences as well. So I was like, fuck, like I should start like a brand.
Absolutely.
And I love just like the aesthetic of things. I'm not a huge designer, fashion designer, but I just love creating like a vision, a story.
Totally.
And just kind of creating something. So I started a company called Finesse. Banking off one of my things on TikTok is the sweatpants jump, and I was like, why not start with that?
Absolutely.
So company's called Finesse. We're gonna be dropping sweatpants in the next couple of months.
I'm talking about.
That I've been custom making here.
And
I think it's just gonna be a vibe.
Dope. No, I think it'd be great. I want to just shout out, like, Mezo's probably one of the best executors I've seen. We notice a lot of people in the creative community, even friends that like kind of talk about it, very seldom actually execute on it. And so you really filter a lot out when you get people who actually are like executing, and you're definitely one of the goats at that, like no question. And I'm really glad to see this come together.
I think it's just, I've always wanted to do things 110%. It's just, if I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna do it 100% and learn how to do it. And this has been something I wanted to do. Looking back, as I was creating this brand and this company, I was looking back and just kind of seeing before what else I've done, created, and I had the idea when I was doing parkour. I was like, I want to start my own parkour gym. There was like one in Toronto, and I was like 14. But my dad is definitely one of the biggest influence of my life, and definitely the main one as me as a businessman. Because he was as one as well. I remember we sat down for like a week, created a 50-page business plan for this parkour gym at 14.
Wow.
Just really, I was researching, I was doing this. I mean, 14, nothing ever happened, but just took the steps to like sit down and like create this huge business plan. And it was more than just an idea.
Absolutely. It builds a habit, builds a mindset over time.
I also sold hoodies in high school.
I feel that one. Definitely. The high school hoodies grind. So a little technical difficulties, episode 1, but it's okay. We're still cooking. But Mezo, I just want to say, first of all, thank you for coming through. This is massive and huge. I'll say this much, and I said it in this pod earlier, but like, Mezo's always been a great inspiration for not only just like content and when it comes to filmmaking. Y'all can see on my socials, I got a video up there, and I consulted him straight up, just a couple calls. I sent him like sketches of my shit, and he hit me back with the ideas. We shot that shit on an iPhone. That was a different time. But yeah, no, always been grateful for not only the connection, but you coming through and showing love. You gonna see Mezo in our stuff. I think one last question I'm gonna ask you before we go. You have seen the pieces, you have shot in them. What is your favorite piece out of all three? You can go by color if you want.
Definitely the black.
The black, that's mine too. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah, we've been blessed to know that a bunch of people have different like loves, so that's good for us. But the black goes the hardest, definitely. But yeah, this was an amazing conversation, bro. I hope we can do it again. Definitely a part 2 coming, and a lot of insight. And we didn't get to talk about too much thanks to technical difficulties, but Mezo does have some shit cooking, so watch out. Yeah, man. But yeah, thanks guys. That's episode 1. Love. All right, sick. Great outro. That's been cut nicely. Love. This is